Hello, this is Data Consulting, and for today's video, I'll be taking a further look at variables in DOMO. To show a visual example of what I will be doing today, here is a graph that uses newly created variables called data status series, month year select, and revenue select to auto-update the neighboring bar graph. To show how it works, I will select the industrial revenue pill to see how the graph updates. So once again, select this specific pill, and see how the data in the graph or in the visualization has updated or changed. It's also important to notice the title of the card changed along with the selection of the variable or the control. Now this will change with every selection based on the fact that I used smart text in my title. Now I can show that again when we get into the analyzer, but for right now I want to talk about the differences between this video and our last tutorial. Now the last one, we can see the example up above where we used only one variable, only a single variable to update and change this visualization. Now in this video, I'm going over multi-variable use, or using multiple variables at different spots in the analyzer or in the visualization. So to go into this, we can look at how we have the data status series, which if we hit off will affect the series and get rid of the series on the card, put that back on. We can also change the x-axis with this month year select, and then the y-axis with this revenue select. So let's go into the card and see how this has been done or created using these variables. Now right off the bat, you'll notice that in the x-axis there is date select, which is a control, y-axis revenue control, which is another control, and in the series the data status control. So all three of these openings are using controls or variables. Now this is important because to edit the card or to update the card with the use of variables, a control needs to be in the spot where the editing is happening. So if we want to change the data being displayed, so for example, we want price instead of revenue, we would have to put a control in the y-axis to edit the data being displayed or the sum or counts being displayed. X-axis will once again be the x-axis, so we can change it to date, or maybe we want like a location. We can have the x-axis update with the variable to show either of these based on the selection. Series is more of the same. You can have a variable to use different series or to turn a series on and off like I did in my example. Now to go over how these work, I'll quickly show the beast mode editors for these. Once again, these are very simple variables. You can go much more complicated. So this is the data status control or the series control. And basically what we did is when this variable equals on, then use data status or that column as the series. Else is just nothing. So when it's off, it just displays no series. Moving on to the y-axis or the revenue control. Let's open that up quick. And we can see that it gets a bit more complicated, but it's still very simple in how it works. Based on the variable selection or the control selection, it's going to sum different columns to give us different displays of data for our card. Now, I have very basic equations for these selections. Sum total revenue, sum commercial revenue, very basic. We can go even further with these calculations and do intense or more complicated equations when using these variables. You don't have to be as simple as I'm doing in these examples. Essentially what you can do in beast mode, you can do in these variable controls or in these equations. Moving out of this, it's also important to notice or to note that you can use variable within variables. So for example, you could have multi-level steps or multi-level controls. Based on one control, the answer to one control, it will integrate into another question for another control. So for example, say we have a date column as well as a revenue control column like this where we choose the specific revenues. Based on the date select, which could be quarter to date, year to date, month to date, and so on, we could then update the y-axis to show specifically quarter to date, year to date, and month to date. So basically based on the first control, it will affect the second control, if that makes sense. So in this next video, or the next tutorial for the next time we upload, I will go into this in more detail, but I thought it was important to note that you can do variables within variables or selections into other selections. Once again though, I will be going over this in more detail in the next video. Thank you for watching our quick explanation today. I hope this has helped in any way. Thank you for watching.